Hello again, everyone. It's Todd Struch, the Horror Nerd, here at Pennsylvania HorrorCon. It is Saturday at the heart of the convention. I am having a blast. It is about to get better because I have the honor of sitting here with the lovely and talented star of Terrifier and Terrifier 2, Catherine Corcoran. Catherine, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing great. I've been waiting all day to get to sit here and talk with you.
That means so
much. It's okay. I'm glad we have a few minutes. So, how does it feel to be part of probably one of the biggest indie horror films to drop in the last few years?
It's funny. Everybody asks me things like that, and I really didn't. It's still kind of surreal because when we were making it, I had Damien to this day says that he always knew, but I don't even know if I believe him because I certainly didn't. I had no idea. And I remember when we were filming, at one point he turned to me and he said, "Are you ready to make horror movie history?" And I looked at him and I said, "You're full of shit. Nobody's going to watch this movie." and so here we are. I mean, I was really lucky to start with some of the trauma films, so I gotten used to that indie horror world and how amazing this community is. But Terrifier has just been a whole nother run, and I'm just so grateful.
Fantastic. Now, I don't want to give anything away, really, but at this point, folks, if you haven't seen Terrifier, well, I don't know what's wrong with you, and so I'm going to just say I don't care. So, your death scene in the movie, right? He hands you the script, and you read it. Mm-hmm. Did you go, wait, what?
Well, it's really funny because I had just come off the trauma film, so if you know anything about that world, there's nobody is safe in those worlds,
right.
and it is absurd and violent, but funny and weird and gross. So it takes a lot to really throw me personally. So I wasn't thrown by it. I think my main concerns were, the safety issues and things like that. And I knew it was either going to be amazing or absolutely terrible. But really, that's most things in life. So I was kind of okay with it. And Damien was really sweet. He came and met with me one-on-one at a place of my choosing to make sure I was comfortable and talk me through it. And I'm so glad that I did. Hello.
What are you talking about? I have no clue. What's this movie you're a part of?
Just this little tiny film that nobody's really ever seen. Just some obscure movie about this clown. I don't know.
I heard there's a sequel coming out with Stephen King's It, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard, and I heard there's this new guy who's kind of like a ripoff from the clown from It, but, we're working out the rights right now.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say what's up. Big fan of your show, big fan of what you do, man.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you for the promotion of Terrifier, we really appreciate it,
Of course.
brother.
Why don't you tell the fans exactly who you are?
Sure. Hi. Sorry. I just saw you. I just wanted to bust chops.
No, it's audience. It's audience.
Well, he was like, you know what? He was like, you know what? Nobody cares about Catherine. It's really my film. And what is the character name again?
I play Will the Exterminator in the film Terrifier. I get decapitated. A lot of fun. It was great to be decapitated. I also am the assistant director and one of the producers of Terrifier 2. And I play the voice of the club announcer and the DJ in Terrifier 2, actually. Little fun tidbit. No one knows that yet. So you got the exclusive.
Nice.
And right. And aren't you also involved in another up and coming franchise with David Howard Thornton?
You're good. Yeah, Stream. We're doing a movie.
And that's when I became a third wheel in my own interview.
So listen, let us handle this. We'll handle this. Yeah, a movie called Stream. I directed. It's with Jeffrey Combs, Dee Wallace, Terry Alexander, Tony Todd, Danielle Harris. I don't want to say anybody I'm not supposed to yet. Tim Reed from Stephen King's It, David Howard Thornton as well. Damien Leone does the effects on it, who everyone knows is the director from Terrifier. And it's a fun little horror film that we did right after we did Terrifier 2, and we're getting ready to release that after Terrifier 2, of course.
Very cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice.
Continue. You have my permission.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
Much appreciated. Good to see you, man. All right, thanks a lot. You good?
I'll pull him away.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's audience participation night here at Pennsylvania HorrorCon.
I'm so honored to have been interrupted. No, he's the best. Our cast, I will say, our cast is still really, really close. And when we do all get together, it is a lot of fun. We bust each other's balls in the best.
No, it is a ton of fun. I actually love when stuff like that happens. It's just a ton of fun, and that was great. That was great. But I have no idea what we were talking about prior to that.
We were talking.
It's okay.
Okay, we're talking about. I don't know. Go ahead. What other questions do we have?
Well, so were you? And I always find this question and answer very interesting. Are you a horror film fan in general?
That's another question I get a lot. And you know what's funny? I'm a fan of working. I think there is something to be said when you're an actor or a filmmaker in general to working. That is such a hard thing to do. It really is a labor of love. You don't go into this business because you want fame and fortune, and those who do, I'm so sorry, but it is an uphill battle. So I'm just always so grateful that I have the opportunity to work and that there is a genre that consistently wants to employ me. I think regardless of whatever happens, I'm so humbled and grateful for that. I will say I have always been a fan of genre, though. Maybe not necessarily always slashers, although there are some brilliant ones, but definitely genre film. I'm a huge nerd. And I loved growing up watching a lot of sci-fi and horror films, and like genre films in particular, because that was some of the first times I ever got to see a dynamic, like strong female character on screen that I could feel empowered and motivated by as a young girl. And I think that's really why I love horror films and genre to this day, is that they take risks that before other genres will.
Sure.
And they motivate and highlight women in ways that a lot of genres are slower to do. And when they do it well, it's amazing. It's life-changing, especially for little girls. Like, there were little girls today that came over and that were like so excited. And I really think that's that same energy that I felt as a kid. You know, even though, maybe some of, like, you would think some of these films would be too much for them, but there is something in that that's empowering. Yeah.
That is a good answer.
Thanks. I do what I can. You know.
Because normally it's about 50-50. Like, some people who are in horror movies tell me, no, I don't like horror, I don't watch horror.
That's so
For
funny.
me, it's just a gig, it's an acting job, and that's it. But no, I don't watch horror films.
Well,
so, it's interesting.
There's something to be said. I mean, again, like I said, work is hard. This is not an easy business, and just to be getting work in general in any genre, whether it's horror films, comedies, Christmas movies, whatever it is that you're working in, that's not an easy feat, and anybody who's doing that as a filmmaker, as an actor, like, that's something to be applauded. But I kind of exist in both realms. I like both, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Very cool. So one last question about Terrifier. Do you have any, and I ask this of everybody that I've interviewed from the cast, so do you have any particular fun memory or moment from making the film that you could share with us?
Yeah, well, I have two.
Okay.
If I got you.
Yeah.
So,
by all means.
Jenna Cannell, who plays Tara in the film, and I met on the set of that film, and we are very, very good friends to this day. I talk to her all the time. If I try to work with her as much as I can, I adore her. And some of the late nights with her, we were both on other projects, so the Terrifier team had to shoot around our schedule. So a lot of the scenes you're seeing with Tara and Dawn, we're not actually in the same room, which is quite funny. But when we were, it was like these crazy overnights where all like mayhem would just break loose. So there were times where we were both like wrapped in sleeping bags like a worm, like wiggling down like to stay warm. And then my other one though is my very last night was the night that we did the hacksaw scene, and we filmed that in a abandoned hospital on Staten Island. There was no heat and no running water, and it was January in New York City, so it's cold. And because there's no running water, if you know anything about that scene, spoilers, there's a lot of blood involved. And so we couldn't, no running water meant was very difficult to get off. So at the end of the night, David and I are exhausted. We've baby wiped off. I have a change of clothes. I've changed, but I'm very cold. So I changed. They'd given me a bathrobe. I had the bathrobe on top, and then I had my winter jacket on top. Pink face, hair kind of like sticking up, covered in blood. David, also bundled up, still has the black under his eyes, and he's exhausted. We get on the Staten Island ferry at like 7 o'clock in the morning after we've wrapped to go back, because we were both living in New York City at the time, and we're both like this, like dead, just staring out, and everybody is getting on the Staten Island ferry to go to work. Nobody said anything. Nobody sat next to us, but nobody said a word. Just ignored it and like just kept going about their
New
business.
York.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah. So I mean, to that, I will never forget that morning, just being like so exhausted. We're not even saying a word at that point, and just everyone's just like, whatever, weirdos. Like, just don't care. I don't know what you did last night, but I want no involvement. And it was great.
That is great. That is a fun story.
Yeah.
So, Catherine, one last question, and I always love to ask this one. If you could give one piece of advice to like a young up-and-coming actress who wanted to make it in film, what would that advice be?
Oh, what a good question. I think I would tell them to take risks and to do things on your terms. That whatever feels comfortable for you, whatever feels authentic to you, is correct. There's no right or wrong on how to do this, on what you should or shouldn't do, and don't let anybody tell you that. And unless it's regards to like safety and your personal well-being, like other than that, this medium is a medium for creatives, and you're a creative, and what you do as a storyteller is sacred and unique and beautiful, and it's as unique as you are, and there will always be stories to tell, and there will always be people who want to listen. You just have to keep creating on your own terms, and exactly what you bring to the table is enough. It's perfect, and it's enough exactly as it is, and there is a seat for you, and there is a space for you, and there are people who want to see you. So that's what I would tell them.
Fantastic. Words of wisdom.
I try.
Catherine, thank you so much for a few minutes of your time.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
I truly
anytime.
appreciate it. It was great.
Thank you.
I wish you much success in any upcoming projects that you have,
so much.
and congrats on the success of the film.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope to see you guys soon.
Catherine Corcoran, everybody here at Pennsylvania HorrorCon. I am Todd Staruch, the Horror Nerd, signing off. We will see all of you in the next interview.